Table. Super happy to have Shawn with us today. In fact, we've known each other for, I don't know, maybe 15 years at some
Something.
level. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you've had a really interesting journey even since we've known each other,
Sure.
um, aside from the beginning of all that, prior to this. So thank you for being with us today. Really super appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to having this chat. If it's okay with you, let's just start at the beginning and tell us how all this came about, the real, your
Sure.
journey a little bit. That'd be great.
Sure. Sure. So I'll start with a little bit of the background. So I live in Atlanta, but originally from New York, and then work-wise, quick the resume. After school, I did 15 years. I did international institutional equity sales, so selling stocks to banks overseas. And then in 2007, with a partner, co-founded the first impact investing investment bank. Did that for 16 years. So we'd raise money for impact and sustainable companies, raise money for impact and sustainable private equity funds, put on different investor convenings, had an online investor portal, about 1,000 LPs and 10 GPs at any one time. And that's where we were overlapping in the past. And then there's what happened, where are you now? So then there was the mental health story, and I'm happy to give you a little snapshot. So it was, and interrupt me anytime you want out there. It was September 22. I was depressed, had trouble eating, had trouble sleeping. I lost 40 pounds, which is wonderful. People be like, "You look amazing." And I'm like, I never felt worse in
Yeah,
my
you
life.
look amazing, but I don't feel so hot, right?
Yeah, I feel like shit, but you look amazing. Like, what are you doing? I was like, not really eating, but I didn't really tell him that. And then the depression was growing, and then it was this December 19th. And I think especially when you're not really eating and sleeping, of course I was eating and sleeping, but not well, the system gets weak. So it was December 19th. I was on a Zoom call, like LPGP call, had like a full mental breakdown, not functioning, can't speak, pretty much suicidal. Telling my wife I don't want to be here anymore. It's also observing how you're thinking and not thinking that your mind is not always your friend. Your brain is a machine that's just creating all kinds of things. So it's lying to you a lot. So if you see those things, then you can be like, okay, I believe this. I don't, not everything your brain says is correct.
Hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Arthur's Roundtable. Super happy to have Shawn with us today. In fact, we've known each other for, I don't know, maybe 15 years at some
Something.
level. And you've had a really interesting journey even since we've known each other,
Sure.
um, aside from the beginning of all that, prior to this. So thank you for being with us today. Really super appreciate it. I'm looking forward to having this chat. If it's okay with you, let's just start at the beginning and tell us how all this came about, the real, your
Sure.
journey a little bit. That'd be great.
Sure. Sure. So I'll start with a little bit of the background. I live in Atlanta, but originally from New York, and then work-wise, quick the resume. After school, I did 15 years. I did international institutional equity sales, so selling stocks to banks overseas. And then in 2007, with a partner, co-founded the first impact investing investment bank. I did that for 16 years. So we'd raise money for impact and sustainable companies, raise money for impact and sustainable private equity funds, put on different investor convenings, had an online investor portal, about 1,000 LPs and 10 GPs at any one time. And that's where we were overlapping in the past. And then there's what happened, where are you now? So then there was the mental health story, and I'm happy to give you a little snapshot. So it was, and interrupt me anytime you want out there. It was September 22. I was depressed, had trouble eating, had trouble sleeping. I lost 40 pounds, which is wonderful. People be like, "You look amazing," and I'm like, I never felt worse in
Yeah,
my
you
life.
look amazing, but I don't feel so hot, right?
Yeah, I feel like shit, but you look amazing. Like, what are you doing? I was like, not really eating, but I didn't really tell him that. And then the depression was growing, and then it was this December 19th. And I think especially when you're not really eating and sleeping, of course I was eating and sleeping, but not well, the system gets weak. So it was December 19th. I was on a Zoom call, like LPGP call, had like a full mental breakdown, not functioning, can't speak, pretty much suicidal, telling my wife, I don't want to be here anymore. Please freaking kill me. So, most wives don't wanna hear that, Arthur. Some
They don't want
might.
to hear that, and you say it with
Some might.
enthusiasm, right?
Some might. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, my wife didn't, so that's a keeper. Yeah, so
Yeah, right.
there you go. So, we don't know what to do. Yeah, it's very opaque. So, we're here in Atlanta, so we went to the, emergency ward, and they basically rolled someone out that telemedicine. They asked you all these questions, then they said, "Do you wanna get checked in?" to the psych ward. I have no idea what that means. I saw One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest once, but I don't really
Yeah,
remember.
that
But I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, all right. So
Injun Joe,
pack.
right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I vaguely remember the movie, but then I was like, all right, fine. I want to go somewhere. So packed up my sound machine, my eye mask, my computer, and went over there the next day. And first we checked in. There was this lovely older woman. She seemed like a second grade teacher to me. And then the next room, there was a lovely police officer. And you can't have any of those things there, right? You can't even have a string in your pants. So it kind of became, yeah, real very quickly to be in that situation. So I was in that place for,
Intense.
yeah, I was intense. I was in there for 2 days. I'm happy to get into it, but then I went out. I went home, and then I wanted to go back to work at the company I co-founded, and I had 2 partners in the firm, and sometimes things don't work out with partners. This is a normal situation. So the partners ended up buying me out of the firm. That's great. I got some money. I mean, I probably didn't have to work for a year. That's it. But the company was my whole identity, my whole life, my whole existence. So when that happened, I fell deeper in depression. I started shaking. It was kind of wacky. And then another dude came into the story. His name is Brett Hurd. Our kids played Little League Baseball together. And then he was also friendly with my wife, not too friendly, but he was friendly. So my wife basically texted Brett and said, "Hey, Sean's in a bad place." He came back right away, asking all the right questions. He's not a therapist or anything, but is he in a safe place? This has happened to a lot of people, especially guys. So something similar happened to Brent. So Brent became now what I call my mental health sponsor. So think of Alcoholics Anonymous and you have
Okay,
a sponsor,
okay,
basically a
yeah.
buddy, right? So walking, talking, hanging out. And then I went away to 2 treatment centers, one in California, one in Florida. Was gone for about 70 days. They take away your phone. I was in therapy all day. And then I got back, and how the real started, I got back a little bit over 2 years or so. And me and Brent, we were talking on the phone. And we were like, dude, that was serious. That was real. I said, yeah, man, that was real. I said, that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the real. And then he said to me, "Well, what is it?" And, of course, I said, I have no idea, but I know there's a lot of men, women, and families that are suffering, and I think we've learned some stuff. I'll stop for a second. There's a chapter 2 and what we're doing, but that's the, intro.
So, and you don't have to answer this if it's too personal,
I'll
but
answer anything. Don't worry.
yeah, no, I'm totally cool, and I expect that, but I just wanna give you an out if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Is some you joked about it, but some spouses would say, "Wow, finally got rid of him. He's too crazy for me. Let's let him just sort of drift away and move on with my life." But you sound like you got somebody that really cared, right?
No, my wife is the hero in the story. She had to take care of everything. Life goes on when you're in that treatment center, and she has
Well,
to
you
deal
had
with my
kids, right?
mom. Yeah, I got a 18-year-old and my son's almost 17. So they were a little younger before, but not much. So it's about 3, 4 years ago. Whatever. Life goes on. Yeah, it's not, and she has to report to everybody. So it's the caregiver. That's a tough position. And I've heard lots of stories now where exactly what you're saying, where I speak to a lot of people, and some of them where the person on the other side wasn't that. I don't, every circumstance is different. So I'm not
Of
blaming
course.
anybody, but that's you never know.
Yeah. So here's another private question. Did you get to the bottom of the reason that you were depressed and whatever caused this? Were you able to get to the bottom of that on some
Sure.
level?
Sure. I don't know if there is a bottom, but I can tell you that I was depressed from time to time, 20s, 30s, 40s. It would come, it would go. I knew I was depressed because I'd lose weight. It was a great diet. And I also say, I was at a 10 one time. That's a bad place, but every human is at a 2, a 4, or 6 at one time. If you're breathing, this kind of shit's going to happen. Maybe not to that extent, but it
Yeah, yeah.
happens. So in this specific situation, it was a combination platter. So I had COVID right before. I'm not blaming COVID, but I think that weakens the system.
Couldn't have
Yeah.
helped, right?
No, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. It's all about weakening the system. And then it wasn't anything that no one else is going through. It was a combination, not sleeping well, not eating well, getting older. Who am I? What am I? Okay, challenges with work. It just felt like it was kept on getting the bricks on my shoulder. So that's what it was. But to look at it a different way and okay, that's terrific. Then how do you come out of it? To me, it's more looking at things differently now. Basically, kind of having different lenses in the glasses, looking at the world differently. Not have to go sit on a mountain. You can sit on a mountain if you want. And of course, I had a therapist that help. But I think it's just how I was looking at things.
There's an obvious and omnipresent trend now to see what trauma happened in your life or in your lineage that may cause you to need healing on some level. And I'm being
Hmm.
facetious on some level on purpose, but I'm not making light of it. But there's a fair amount of people that have said, well, wait a minute. And I think it was catalyzed partly by people sitting at home during COVID and saying, holy shit, I don't have to race to work today.
Sure,
What am
sure.
I going to do? What am I going to think
Right,
about? And so
right.
they had an opportunity that wasn't clouded by
Hmm.
just getting everything done. And so people not only traded Bitcoin, but they sat and thought about life, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Sure.
Is that part of what you see as well? Uh,
People are analyzing it more. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm saying that people have come to the grips, I think, on some level. Some people, I'm just telling you what I see. I don't know anything.
Yeah, yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, is that okay? There might have been some trauma in my childhood or my family, and this is why I'm depressed or can't deal with certain things, or go in the corner and get all my knickers in a twist or get into a knot. Is there
Hmm.
any of that you see happening in your world as it relates to the real or anything else?
Yeah, so now I've spoken to thousands of people and then talked
Yeah.
in front of them, and a couple of things. This is never 1 degree away from anybody. It's always half a degree or 0 degree. And I can't tell you that there's so many different factors, and every person's different. So sure, I think all these things are combination platters. It's just building up of different things. Sure, it could be your upbringing. It could also be, what you were taught when you were older, or even, hey, it's how society looks at these. I think it's not one thing, and each person is just different. All those there's so many factors that you can put into the thing.
I really like and appreciate what you said about changed your point of view.
Hmm.
And it's, if you don't mind me editorializing a little bit for a second,
Go for it.
is that it's been a regular view from the Buddhists, for example, that if you just adjust your lens, you can go back to the way you looked at it prior, but try it for a second and adjust the way you see something. That might reveal a method of dealing with life in general, right? And what's interesting is they always said, you can go back to the old way of looking at it if you want, but if you just try it and see what happens, right? So what you were saying is that you've changed your view on certain things that have helped you deal with things.
Yes, and every day I will think, okay, am I thinking how I thought about this before for 50 years? You know what? That wasn't really helping me. I'm
Right.
gonna think about this a little differently, and then I can look at it. I could kind of see it on it. It's also observing how you're thinking and not thinking that your mind is not always your friend. Yeah, your brain is a machine that's just creating all kinds of things. So it's lying to you a lot. So if you see those things, then you can be like, okay, I believe this. I don't not everything your brain says is correct, but it's a tool, yeah, and a toolbox, and it's just always working, but you don't have to agree with it. And you don't have to do what it says.
Yeah, I think that if that's the only thing people get out of hearing you today, I think that's super valuable. There's just my opinion. There's a friend of mine that wrote a book. His name's Mo Gaudat, and it was Solve for Happy from an engineer's perspective. He was an engineer at Google, super successful guy. And at the end of the book, it basically said, your mind is not you, you're the observer of your mind. So
Exactly.
don't let it take control. So it's kind of the same thing that you're saying, right?
Yeah, and this is Buddhism. This is millions.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
is not like some new thing that I'm talking about. You
Exactly.
hear from all these people, and it's pretty similar. But then when you can act, it's hard to do. But once you can do it, it just not that it's perfect, but if you start thinking that way, then you can look at things just a little bit differently. And even the things that society teaches you. And of course, we're talking about family offices and money and this, that, the other thing. But it doesn't even matter how much money you got. That's you might be miserable in a bigger house, but it's also how you look at these different things. And I'll give you a little chapter two of my story that will also
Sure, please.
permeate that. So chapter two was, what is this? I was saying, me and Brent figure out the name. I didn't know. So, my default is LinkedIn, so I went out on LinkedIn and I basically sent the message, "Hey, I was in a bad place. I'm starting this thing called The Real," and then I hit the button. That was scary. I hit the button to, let's say, 30,000 folks. So many people came back, so many people super supportive, and then a lot of people I became like Brent, they wanted to talk to me, and I became like a mental health sponsor like Brent was, because I'm not a therapist or anything, but if you could say to a man or a woman, "Listen, I know exactly how you feel. You don't wanna get out of bed, you don't wanna take a shower, and you think, 'I might not wanna be here anymore.'" And then the worst thing is you think, "That's just never gonna end, right? This is it." But I can tell them 100%, I do not know when it's gonna end, but it's gonna end. That's and I do that a couple times a week, almost every day, talking to people,
Yeah,
because you get into this bad head where you can't. A therapist said a good thing to me. She said, "It's like you're a fish in a fishbowl when you're in that head and just someone's shaking the hell out of it, and you don't know which way is up, you know?"
yeah,
But one guy that hit me, and you're gonna know him. So, Ron Diamond, I'm sure you know
yeah,
Ron. So
sure.
from Tiger 21, I don't wanna pitch competitors, but
Pitch
from
him,
Tiger
pitch him,
20.
pitch him. Yeah, it's
No,
okay.
so Ron hit me and he's like, "Hey," I didn't know Ron, at all. I thought he was another person that needed help, but he goes, "Can you come and speak to our group?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So this was June 5th of, 23, got on the plane. Me and Brent, we went to see his Tiger group in Chicago. He's got a couple. And I was telling the story like I'm telling you. And 10 minutes in, the hands go up, right? Because everyone's talking. It's just like popcorn. You heat it up, it's gonna pop. And all these guys and women telling the stories. It's supposed to go for 40 minutes, goes for an hour and a half. You have billionaire guys opening up. It doesn't matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
you gave him permission.
Yeah, because they feel comfortable. And some of them were my old clients. Whatever, it's fine. So then what happened was, Ron was like, "That was great." I said, "Yeah, no, it just happens to, it's normal. This is a human condition." So, of course, decided to go on a road show. I don't know why, because I always go on a road show with my old firm. So that summer, we went on a road show. We did Nantucket, we did Martha's Vineyard, we were in Greenwich, all kind of investor places because I'd done that before. We didn't have a an ask. We didn't have a like, now there's a for-profit, nonprofit. Well, we just had a story, and people be like, "Well, what do you at?" We're like, I don't know. This story is just, resonating." And I also think just going around telling the story, that also helped me a lot, but people would be like, and they would be like, "Thank you. I
Yeah, it
don't
was
know what you're
therapy for
doing,
you.
but I like it." Yeah, it was for me, but
Totally.
they were like, "Thank you. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I really like it. I wanna help you."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, okay, wonderful."
Well, I don't mind saying to you, I'm in awe of every time I see a post or see some activity from you, it's another 13, 14, 15, 20 people stepping up and wearing hats and saying, I'm doing this. And
Uh-huh.
I also don't mind saying, I don't know what the fuck it is that you're doing, but I'd
Well,
like
I'll
to
tell
find
you.
out. Okay.
Well, that's good because now I have the call here. So, okay. So then I was telling you we went on the road show, and then it kind of formed, eventually. Uh, there's a foundation, and then there's a for-profit. But I'll give you the foundation. And also, if you can go to the website of the foundation, it's thereal.care. So the foundation is based on the power of conversation and community. Yeah. Because that mental health's complicated, a lot of pieces, but that helped me a lot. Yeah. Conversation, community. And I think that community is the medicine. So the foundation is based on three C's. It goes conversation, goes to community, goes to change. And soon you'll understand all these posts. The conversation. So the talk that I gave at Tiger 21 and we did the road show, I call that the real talk, right? And now I've done that 20, 30 places. And it's a conversation. It's like what we're doing right now. It's a conversation. I'll stop talking. People start telling their stories. I don't ask them to, they just do.
Yeah, of
And when
course.
you have that, and we have those conversations, it breaks down the stigma. People feel more comfortable because everyone thinks, like you're saying, gives them permission. So the idea there is one guy telling the story is wonderful, but how about 10? How about 100? How about 1,000? So one of our goals is to help 10 million and one men with their mental health by 2030. So think of the talk like it's a TED talk. right?
Yeah.
With a certain look, a certain feel. So 10 finance guys, 10 marketing guys, 10 whatever kind. Yeah, because I think people associate with people that are similar. And think of that like a library of talks so that people can watch those. And you know that a music video has been watched lots of times, a billion times. So this is how you get in front of a lot of people. So that's one is the conversation. That's the first C. And the second C is community. Yeah. So I was talking about my friend Brent, but there's so many people that came out of the woodworks, and I had stories of people coming out of the strangest places. But we have, you'll see on our website, we have these ambassadors. So our goal is to get to 1,001 ambassadors by the end of 26. We have close to 500 now,
Nice.
and they're all over the freaking planet. It's around 30 countries, 6 continents, and all kinds of guys, all kinds of guys. Right? Tons of there's family office guys, there's finance guys, but there's all kinds of folk there. So what are we doing with them? So one is we're working on an app. It's still early, but here's the basic idea. I don't know if it's internal or external. Give guys a safe place they could talk about this stuff and not feel like they're judged. Yeah. Two, Brent was my mental health sponsor. Be a mental health sponsor, find a mental health sponsor, help somebody out. Yeah. Three, I don't think I should have went to the psych ward, but me and my wife, we didn't know who to talk to. People always hitting me for advice or for their kids or for their moms, their dads. Not that I'm giving out medical advice, but at least I have some experience just to help people on this journey because it's super opaque. No one knows where to go, what to do. It's just very
Right.
it's hard. And then people are interested in different modalities, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, psychedelics. I think all these things are super interesting, but I'm a sales guy, in general, but I want to learn it from other people in the group. And then now I'm going to get to the pictures and the ambassadors and what they do. So the ambassadors, and again, we got a close to 500. What do we do with them? Every third Saturday of the month, we do this thing called speed friending. So, what is that? We had about 100 guys on the call last month, and we get on a call, and then we break up into groups 2, 4, 6. We do some rotations, 8 minutes or something. What are we talking about? Are we talking about mental health? Sometimes. Are we talking about nothing? Sometimes. Does it matter? No. Right? Because it's building community and conversations, and guys are meeting other guys out there and just feeling like they're part of something, which they are. And if they need support, there's guys in there that are going to help them because they can associate work, marriage, whatever, every topic someone has experienced, and they can talk to you about that if you want or not. So that's one thing we do. And then the second thing that we do is we do this thing called the real walk. That's where you see all these hats.
Yeah.
So the real walk happens the third Saturday every month. And now it's happening close to 500 locations all over the planet. So in essence, guys wear the hat, they get the hat or not the hat, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then they go for a walk. Or why? Because there's a lot of isolation, there's a lot of loneliness, there's also a lot of division. I go for a walk with a guy named Bob every Thursday. Me and Bob couldn't disagree more on any subject ever. Literally, we are fighting on any subject. I'm on one side, he's on the other. Who cares? When we're done, Bob, okay, brother, love you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And then even doesn't have to be a walk. It's interesting. People interpret it differently. I saw one guy, he's doing hot yoga. Another guy, he's smoking cigars with his friends. Another guy's golf. It doesn't matter. It's just being part of something, and they do it with their wives, their ex-wives, their dogs, their cats. 10 people, one person, 100 people, whatever. That doesn't matter. So that's when you're seeing all the hats and stuff. So we have the ambassadors. Then I'm talking about this. So this is not this. I'm talking about guys, but this isn't a guy thing, right? But guys meet shoulder to shoulder. Women meet face to face. They just talk about stuff differently. Guys in general are loners and they don't want to talk about this stuff. But what do women want? I'm not sure what they want, Arthur, but I know one thing they want is healthy guys, okay? They want to have healthy husbands and sons and uncles and grandfathers. So we have these incredible women right now, about 50 or so, that are the allies, right?
Yeah,
And
most women that you want to be associated with in one way or another aren't looking for somebody who, when a crisis hits or just daily life, that they're gonna crumble in the corner, and I'm not saying that that doesn't happen and it shouldn't be addressed. I'm just saying that's not the profile, right?
of the allies
Of the
or the
woman of what a woman's looking for, right?
yeah, but
They're
you
looking
know
for
these
a
things happen in life,
yeah,
okay?
of
And
course.
you got the better for worse, all that stuff. So
Yeah,
and every situation is different. I can't speak to every relationship, but yeah, people are gonna struggle. That's a guaranteed. So you whatever. That's yeah. So, but you'd want someone that's gonna support you. And if you don't, that's maybe you get a new one. I don't know, but these things
Yeah, right.
happen.
Yeah,
These things happen. But
exactly.
these women are helping. Yeah. So we have the ambassadors, we have the allies, and then we have embassies because I thought that sounded cooler than chapters. So now we have bunch of guys in New Zealand getting together, got guys in London, a bunch of guys in San Francisco, wherever, because we have them all over. That's 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 one side of it is the foundation. So that goes conversation, goes to community, goes to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And the women are involved because it resonates with them.
Yeah, they want to help their mothers, their wives, their sisters. And it's a yin and a yang because if you help a man, it also helps the family. It helps them too. There's a lot of one goes together with the other. This is not two separate things. I put it like this though. Okay, so women and men will just talk differently. So I had one of the women who was an advisor to the firm to the real. She's like, the real is about men talking about her feelings. And when she said that, I want to throw up because guys don't talk like that. Guys say, I had some challenges. I went through some shit. It means the same exact thing,
It
but you
does,
have
yeah.
to talk you're
Different
speaking in
language,
different
yeah.
languages. It's
Different
it.
word, yeah.
So they both want the same thing. So it's not, there's no tug of war here in terms of that.
So super interesting. Like I said, I am just in awe of how many
But
people.
there's more, but I'll get to that. But keep going.
Yeah, please. Yeah, no, no.
No,
I
no,
just
keep going.
wanted to. I just want to give you a heads up that I just when I'm looking at, him, I'm going, how the hell is he doing this, and why is it so important? And look at how many people that I know are stepping up
Sure,
who don't have time to do their priorities are stepping up. I mean, I'm not saying that there's they're smart, busy business people that I know,
sure,
and they are carving out the most valuable asset they have, which is their time, to put your hat on and at least pronounce that they're involved. I mean, that's
sure.
impressive. Yeah,
Sure, and I also look at the real a little bit like a sports team. So, some people love the Yankees. They're gonna paint their house pinstripes and they're gonna name their kid Derek Jeter. And some people go to one a game every 3 years, and it doesn't matter. And we're not taking attendance. You don't make every call. It doesn't matter if you don't go on a walk. Doesn't matter. It's more being part of something. But on the other side, honestly, what's more important than how you're feeling every single day? Because your brain's going 20. So if you can't make time for that, do you need to make time to get more money? Like that's not going to help you. That's nice, but so I'm just taking the other side of the coin. I mean, yeah, they're busy, but if you're not going to take time to help yourself and feel good, then why? What are you so busy doing?
yeah, right. For what reason? Yeah, got it.
Now I'm gonna flip it
Yeah,
on
it's
you a little
kind of
bit.
like
So,
back
oh,
to
go ahead.
what we were talking about with the Buddhists, where and I'm not advocating any dogmatic thing over another, just to be super clear to the audience, I don't care. But it's the thing I think that was smart is they said if you don't have your shit together, you can't help anybody else. Like you can't be of value to anybody else.
Yeah,
Your
they
family,
say
right?
they say if you don't put on your oxygen mask first before you help other people. That's the thing
Exactly.
that they like to say, right? Like on the plane. So the other side to the real is more on the finance side. So was the co-founder of the first impact investing investment bank. I saw how that space grew from nothing, 1.5 trillion or whatever it is. So I had non-compete with my old firm and then it burnt off. And I was like, I got to put on an event because a lot of companies, a lot of funds and other folks were coming my direction. We put on, and then one of our goals is to help move $10 billion in new capital into mental health by 2030. I'm not raising $10 billion, but I saw how we were helpful in the impact investing space. So we were putting on different convenings. So we put on the first real summit, the intersection of finance and mental health. We did that last October at Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank's headquarters in Columbus Circle in the city, New York City. What was it? It was one and a half of it was your typical investment event, companies, funds, family offices, the usual stuff, all around mental health. Half of it was workshops. How do you work on your own mental health? How do you work as a founder? How do you work with your teams? All that different stuff. And then we also we did a real walk in Central Park, people wearing the hats and stuff. And then we had people doing talks. So we did that in the city in New York, and then we did that in Davos, Switzerland, and then we did that in London, and then we just did it again in New York.
Yeah, I
and we'll
saw
do
that.
Davos in London. We'll keep on repeating that because that's how you, in my mind, and it's not just men. This is mental health in general, right? How do you bring more capital into this space? Yeah, because on the flip side, is there a bigger market than every human on the planet? So that's one side of it, and then the other side of it is how do you make the invisible visible? Yeah. So I think the real is a brand. So if you think of, you might have seen, they used to have these shirts, Life is Good. They still have them, Life is Good hats and shirts and all that stuff. Or even there's this initiative in Australia, that started in Australia, that's all over the world, that guys grow, 6 million guys grow mustaches. Or even think of Nike, Just Do It. So now people in 30 countries all over the place, again, it's tiny, are wearing the real hat. And then there's going to be other stuff so that you're walking in the mountains up there and you're wearing a hat or something else. Someone sees you, you see them. You just know mental health affects people. And that other way to look at it is, where is there also a mental health brand? So now we're getting looking at different, kind of co-branding things with other people. That's another piece to it.
Yeah. So what would you say was different than you expected that was a good outcome from the event in New York that you just had? In other words, what did you expect and what actually happened?
What was really cool was we had Andrew, kind of out of the blue, Andrew Yang. You remember him? He ran for president.
Yeah, of course.
And Rick Perry, who also ran for president, kind of found us. We didn't pitch him or anything and said, we want to come when we want to speak. So that was really cool to have a Republican and a Democrat both
Right.
there speaking, because mental health is one space where there's really no one's lobbying against it.
Right.
So that was really great. And I think the other thing was, it's more, if you there's so many people posting and it's wonderful about it, but at the end of the day, it's a feeling, right? Because of course, on one side, you've been to a lot of investment events. So have I. I put them on. But you're kind of bringing in the human element into this. So there's deeper conversations. Of course, they're talking about IRRs and things like that, but they're also saying, hey, what's going on with you? Right? How are you doing? And people are sharing their stories. So you have both sides. That was also not for this one, but the first one, it was a beta. I was like, is this going to work? I don't know. But there's some magical thing that's happening there that people are like, okay, I went to this event, usual investor event, whatever, you bond with some people, you might see some ideas. But here you're creating more of a bond. I think more of kind of a following, a family, if I don't know, family, but you hear what I'm saying. And we had a
Yeah.
lot of ambassadors there. We had a lot of allies there. They're super supportive of each other. So it was more a feeling than anything.
Yeah. So I want to get to how I can help you and the companies that I have, but I don't mind telling you that while I don't have capacity to do this often, I have a handful of family offices that I'm intimately involved with. And it starts with money, but it ends up always being something else.
Of course, of course.
And so there isn't been a situation where there's a super fucked up person or family member and everybody has this problem, right?
No, every human, every
Everybody
family
has
office.
this
No, this is
problem,
not
right?
unusual. This is the most usual situation that you don't hear about.
Right.
This is in every house, every car, rich, poor, in between. This is everywhere. This is, you don't hear about it all the time. This is human beings. This is what happens to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really omnipresent, I think.
That's just part of the human condition. It's nothing to be embarrassed of. Like, oh, you're weak, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. This is what happens to people.
Right.
This is what happens to them. I'm not, maybe not to the extent that it happened to me, but it's going to happen. I was saying I was at a 10, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's your life. Something like that's going to happen to you. I tell you, either I go into a lot of rooms and I say, hey, please raise your hand if you, a family member or a friend, has never been negatively affected by mental health. I've never been
Right.
in a room when not everyone raised their hand.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
true.
matter.
There's a favorite author of mine. And it's, I think, germane to the subject that he says, it's Joseph Campbell. He says, life is full of sorrow. Embrace it. He's
Yeah,
basically saying, look, we're all got problems, right? And we're
of
going to
course,
have
of
problems.
course,
And it's
of course.
endless.
Of course, of course, of course. But I also say on the flip side, that I was telling my story, and on one side, that was definitely the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. Yeah, 100%. But on the flip side, in that moment, but now, if you ask me, I might say, and I will say, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah.
Totally get it. Yeah.
So that's not necessarily a bad thing that happened.
Yeah. No. It's kind of like the dark and the light, right?
Hmm.
Contrast.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
all right. So how can our listeners, me, Family Office Insights, our bevy of companies help you further this mission?
Sure. So a couple of things. If anyone wants to be an ambassador, that's really easy. Just hit me on LinkedIn. And like I was saying, we're not taking attendance. You don't have to be at on every third Saturday. You don't have to go for a walk, and you don't have to be on every call. That doesn't matter. It's more being part of something and then just telling other folks. And then I do a lot of just people hit me all the time and say, "Hey, my buddy's not doing good." And I say, "Okay, well, I will talk to them." That's easy stuff. Of course, we need dough, right? So I self-funded this and to start. I am a family, not a family office. So I put in about a half million bucks, which is a lot of money for me. And then we got some donations. We got like 100 grand in donations in the beginning, but we didn't really have, you know, this, you only have one chance to make a first impression, you know, with your events. We didn't have everything baked. So I met people that I knew, and maybe they gave me some money from their DAF, whatever. They say, Sean, I don't know what you're doing, but I like you. And so, here's some dough. But now we have these programs set up. We have the mission. We know how we're rolling this out. So right now, yeah, we're working on $1 million raise. I'm not raise. I call something like a company, but for donations, tax deductible donations to help really roll this out everywhere and to accelerate this and also to train the ambassadors and the allies to be even more effective. So we're doing an event in New York in the city December 9th at a brokerage firm that's hosting us. Then we're doing an event in Chicago on the 10th, and we're doing an event in Denver on the 11th. So yeah, we're hoping people might donate.
Yeah.
And then the other side is if they want to attend some of the other events, we're in Davos, we're in London, we're back in New York. It's the usual stuff like any events, looking for sponsors and all that jazz.
What's the yeah, we could definitely socialize those events for you. So,
Hmm.
post this, let's talk about that.
Sure,
That's
sure.
easy for us to do. There's a company called DAF Share that we just hosted who basically is taken a page out of the fintech
Hmm.
world and
Hmm.
said, okay, matching gifts, nonprofit donations, all that is a mess.
Hmm.
There's got
Hmm.
to be an easy way. And so I'm going to send you a link so you can, especially if you have somebody who will do a matching grant, like
Sure,
you
sure,
put it on
sure.
DAF Share, and then all of a sudden it actually works, right?
Hmm.
People say,
Hmm.
"Oh, wait a minute. You mean I can just put my DAF money in here and I can," and so it's a fintech that basically
Cool.
accelerates the easy deployment of DAF money. So I'll
Yeah, I
send,
mean, DApps are great for us. That's,
yeah,
of course, the whole story. There's whatever, $1 trillion sitting in DApps, just sitting there,
just
etc.
sitting there. Yeah.
Well, the reps don't want it to go anywhere because you're managing the money.
Right.
There's a little bit of a situation there, but
Have you had
people
any
can
luck in
go ahead.
Silicon Valley with some of your folks?
Here's the thing, I've not really made any asks. I haven't run around. We're really at the point where now we're ready, right? It's it's like any other raise. You don't have your ducks in a row. Now it's like, okay, we got everything. We got everything. I mean, it's not perfect, but we got the good structure here. Now we're ready to hit the road. So I'm going to those three cities, but then I'm going to do like a 9 city tour, San Francisco, LA, whatever, Miami, blah, blah, blah. So we're at that point.
Yeah, there's a group in Silicon Valley that has a lot of the wealthy people there.
Mhm.
It's basically a foundation organization, and I will tell you that a lot of the dough that's sitting in that foundation is in the form of non-public shares, so it's not liquid. I mean, a lot
Sure.
of it, but there's a lot of liquid money in the foundation as well. So we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, and then that's another thing. Of course, we can take real estate, equity. There's whatever. It's not always just cash, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options.
Yeah. Super cool. So what is the next step? Uh, talk about Davos. How's that work for you?
Davos is super cool. This will be the third time that I went. We put on this mental health day in Davos. So I don't know if you've ever been to Davos. Have you been yet? So
I've
let
been
me
to
give you
Switzerland many times, but not
yeah,
Davos
but
yet.
I'll give you because I didn't know either. So how does Davos work? So Davos, think of it as a long promenade or a long road out in a ski town, and that road is 2 miles long. And instead of a ski shop, the storefront becomes Bloomberg, becomes the country of Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
whatever, Morgan Stanley. So literally, you're, and then 1/10 of that, the 2 miles, is the World Economic Forum. So that part costs you like 200 grand to get into, right? And that's where the world leaders and CNBC is going to be sitting. But really, most of it is going, this 95% is on this road where you're going to these different places and just seeing people. So we have a space in one of those places. So we put on the mental health day there. It was cool last year. We had Patrick Kennedy. So me and him had a talk about men's mental health. And then you see people on the street. We saw Scaramucci, and we took a picture with him wearing the real hat. So it's just another way to get the word out. But I tell you something kind of funny. And I remember the first time I went, and I was like, I don't know. And I went as a guest of my friend, and I was like, I don't know, people are going to really go for this. And we didn't have anything. I just had one hat. I didn't have lots of hats. And then I was just having conversations with people. And even in Davos, I would say, oh, this is a men's mental health foundation. And the thing that they would always say to me is, oh, that's so needed. It didn't matter who it was. They would just
Yeah.
say, wherever they are on the planet, or, obviously you have super wealthy people, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's so needed. That was always
Well, yeah, we have a lot of people we know that are going to Davos, of course, in the community, and so we can help you there
well,
too.
you should go. You should go. It's fun.
Yeah. I'm open to going. I just don't ski anymore. Even though I'm in the mountains here, we take off during the winter and go
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah,
warm.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd be happy to go.
It's fun.
So we'll
It's
talk
fun.
about it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Sean, this has been awesome. Like
No, thank you.
I'm really grateful that we were able to do this.
Yeah, we did it.
I'm serious about helping. We'll
Terrific. And if you want to be an ambassador, that's a lot of pressure now, Arthur. You can be an ambassador like these
the
other guys, but
only
you can think
thing,
about it.
like, now I understand what it is
Yeah,
because,
yeah. It's not a
not
big ask. It's not like it's
that's
not.
what I'm saying. Like, I tend to be, on the one hand, selfish and careful with my time because,
Of course,
it's just like everybody else.
it's normal.
And then on the other hand, I want to deliver, right? So now you just explained it to me. So
What is it? Do you go on a walk ever?
I go on a walk all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a head?
You know,
Yes.
you know
Do you
what
have a
is really
camera?
it?
Yes.
One of the things that I've
That's
been
it.
doing
You're
for,
done.
yeah, 17 years is, I learned transcendental meditation when I was 17 as a
Mhm.
lark. Like, it was
Mhm.
just, okay, somebody needed a companion to go get their mantra. And
Cool.
so, uh, I've been doing that since then.
There you
And
go.
for example, we go to the gym almost every day and we take a walk after we work out, whether it be inside or outside. And that meditation time is so valuable. It's like, it's the most valuable thing, right, of the day.
Well,
So,
and I tell you something interesting about that. We have guys that look at the real. They look at it all different ways, right? Some are like, this is about peer to peer. Some of this is about meditation. Some of this is about religion. Some of this around sports, psychedelics. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
Whatever we're bringing the people together, and how whatever magic, or whatever works for them. Wonderful.
yeah,
I'm not judging it. I'm not saying, I know it works for me, but that doesn't mean it works for somebody else. So it's just bring all the people together and they help each other.
yeah, totally makes sense. I get it. All right. So we'll help you. Be happy
Okay.
to.
I like it. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
super. And I really appreciate you sharing with everybody. I
Of
think
course.
that, like I said, there were a bunch of stuff that we talked about. I think that independently and in aggregate would be helpful and
And it's
people.
hard to see on LinkedIn, I get it. It's there's a lot of stuff. It's hard to understand.
No, but you produce results. Like I said, everybody's going like, what is it that he's doing that everybody's is buying into, right? I love it. Yeah. Thank you, Shawn, and thank you for
You
doing
got it.
this. And we'll be in touch after, okay?
Okay, brother. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks everybody for being here today. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.